Ahoy, my friends, Ryder here, and welcome back to another Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis video. Today, I'm going to be doing a to pull or not to pull on the new Vincent banner, which his costume looks absolutely freaking awesome, guys. But other than that, I am currently struggling to find reasons why someone might be pulling for this banner, especially right now at this point in time before everything that might be coming on the horizon. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about all my thoughts on this banner, and that being said, let's just get straight into it. So first thing I want to do is I want to check out the animation, right? It's always cool to see a new weapon animation, and this one is an AoE, and it does look pretty sick. I do like it. I think a lot of aesthetically, you know, in terms of aesthetics when it comes to this banner, so we're going to take a look at the costume now, guys. Aesthetically, this looks amazing. I mean, we're taking a look at this costume right here. We've got the crimson on black on gold. We've got the high boots here going up the shin. I mean, so many things about this costume are just absolutely freaking badass right here. We've got the golden gauntlet. He's wearing some type of golden medallion right here. He's got the chains holding together this kind of fur-lined jacket. He's got his little black collar right here. It just looks sick. It looks like some kind of piratey, just super sick. He's got the long black hair and the bandana here. It just a really, really cool looking costume, guys. Like, for me, if I pulled for this, like, it would solely be for this skin right here, and I would be running this skin on everything Vincent is going to be in any party for probably like the next 6 months, right? It looks really cool. Now, the costume itself looks sick. The gun is not as cool. So it's got this weird kind of calcium deposit looking stuff on the top here, which kind of looks like Alien and Predator right here. I like the color of the like quartzy rose crystal on the gun right here. We've got the bronze kind of aluminum on the top, but then right here, you guys know those like toy guns that have those little orange things on the front of it to let everyone know that it's a fake gun? Well, Vincent's got one of these on the back of his gun. I'm not exactly sure what this is. It's supposed to be like a fake fire so that when he fires it, it looks like there's a little fire coming out. I wouldn't be surprised if this lit up when he fired at his opponents, but it makes the gun look more like a toy, especially with this little yellow trigger. So like, it's interesting looking. I like kind of like the sci-fi, you know, approach with it, but I feel like they made it look more like a toy gun than a real gun, and that really just takes away from it for me. So the aesthetic on the gun, mediocre. The aesthetic on the costume, absolutely freaking awesome. Super sick. I mean, who's going to say that this costume doesn't look cool? Like, this costume looks awesome. Now I'm sure that there's going to be like one comment where someone's like, ugh, I could go without this costume. Well, we could go without that comment. But that being said, this costume is freaking sick, guys. I like this costume. I think it's really cool. So let's take a look at the stats on this costume. Alright, so here we have the Devil Gunner's Coat. Physical and Magic Ward is the first R ability. Physical and Magic Defense plus 15%. Always great. Love this R ability. Really think it's a great R ability, right? The second one here, we have Buff Debuff Extension Plus, which is essentially a Buff Debuff Arcanum, right? Which is great. Now, this is where I kind of get stuck on him. Vincent so far, to me, is like an elemental DPS character. He can even do pretty solid non-elemental magic damage with Hugin and Munin. He's got a physical fire arcanum. He's got an earth arcanum. He's got a lightning arcanum. He's a DPS character. He's a damaging character. So I struggle to come up with circumstances in which this costume would be used over any of his arcanums if he was going to be used just as a debuffer, right? But realistically, there's other characters that can do these things better than him, right? He doesn't have too much access to debuff. He has a couple, I think he has one Imperil. You know, this new weapon gives him a magic defense break and a earth buff up. But if you take a look at the weapon itself, right, it has a magic defense break and an earth damage buff up, which means this looks like a offhand pairing for his white dog weapon, meaning you would be running that earth damage weapon in his main hand and his earth arcanum as his costume. So although there's some very appealing things about this banner, it just feels a bit strange, like they didn't know what kind of costume to give him, and they thought, hey, a buff debuff arcanum, you know, could always come in handy at one point, so why don't we just put that there, right? Because probably a lot of people are going to be pulling for this, you know, for the aesthetic on the costume. And you know, I could see people maybe, you know, if you guys missed a lot of Vincent's previous banners, you know, you don't have any of his arcanums, but you love him as a character, I could see going for this, you know, just to have something. Physical magic defense 15% is nothing to scoff at. The buff debuff duration, always good, right? But if you have the other arcanums and he's a DPS character, those arcanums are almost always going to be better. So I find myself struggling to come up with, like I said, circumstances in which this costume would actually be run for something other than aesthetic purposes. It seems like most of this banner is focused on the aesthetic like aspects of his costume. Now the weapon right here, obviously wishlistable, and that's what I'm going to be doing, guys, just to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. I will be for sure skipping this banner. Even if Sid comes out next week and Sid is, you know, nothing great, right? And I end up skipping Sid, I still don't think that I would come back to this banner, just because I would purely be pulling on it for the aesthetics of it. The weapon is great, but it's wishlistable. I can pop it on my wish list in 6 to 8 weeks. I can come back, I can build it up. Yeah, I won't have the strongest team for this battle ranking number 7, but I'm fine with that. And, you know, it's just kind of a strange overall thing. So let's take a look at this weapon. We're going to go through each of the stages, OB1, OB6, OB10. Alright, so here we have it, OB1, 393 magic attack, which is pretty good. Command ability, Light Blast. It deals 540% magic non-elemental damage. It is an AoE, right, with an AoE magic defense break. However, it does not go high at base 5-star, which is a little disappointing, not gonna lie. However, most of the time when a weapon has a, you know, a debuff and a buff, or two different things that it does, it's harder to get it to be mid to high at base 5-star, so I can see why they would do that. But that nonetheless, it is still a little bit disappointing that in order to hit high tier, you need to have this weapon up to OB6, and it's something that I feel like they've been pushing more lately, is to push towards OB6. We've gained less, I feel like we've gotten less weapons that can go mid to high at base 5-star. I think the last one might have been Yuffie's Wind Imperil one, but I can't quite recall if that one hit high before OB6 or not. I'm sure someone will let me know in the comments below. Alright, now this is going to break magic defense to mid, like I said, pre-OB6. It'll have a duration of 25 seconds, and when HP is 70% or more, it will increase earth damage, also a potency of mid, duration 35 seconds, and increases limit gauge by 4%. Now, the R abilities here, we have magic attack over earth potency, and I'm going to jump to OB10. This is going to be a 62 over 39, so basically the cream of the crop when it comes to R abilities, or elemental R abilities for earth potency and magic attack right here. Super, super good. This is definitely 150% for me a wishlist item, and something that I recommend people wishlist in the future. The support abilities, you know, we have Magic Attack Boost 1, Magic Attack Boost 1, and we have Triangle Sigil Boost. Now, I feel like Vincent only has Triangle Sigil Boost breakers. Like, I honestly feel like he does not have Circle or X anywhere in his kit whatsoever, which is a little bit strange that they've locked him into Triangle. It's like Vincent has just become like the man of Triangle Sigil breaks. But also it kind of doesn't make any sense. This weapon looks to me like a offhand pairing with White Dog, his earth damage weapon in the main hand. So why would this have a Triangle Sigil boost on it when this looks like this will almost always be an offhand weapon? I just feel like the support abilities, they've kind of just like forgotten about. We haven't gotten anything new, we haven't gotten anything creative, and I feel like they could get creative with this stuff. I mean, like, they basically just throw the same sigil boost on every single weapon now. It used to be different, and I just feel like You know, especially with weapons where most of the time it's going to be an offhand weapon, I feel like they could get creative. They could add something new to it. They didn't, and you know what? It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, guys. So let's go back down to OB1 right here. All right, at OB1 we'll have boost magic attack 42 points, boost earth potency 15 points. All right, and if we take it to OB6, magic attack is going to jump to 618. So not bad, not the highest, but still good. It's going to deal 660% magic non-elemental damage. The magic defense will go immediately to high on the first cast, which is nice, but you do have to get it to OB6, right? And I feel like who's going to pull this banner to OB6 right now with Sid literally dropping on the 15th, already announced. There is a potential Rebirth crossover banner at the end of January, and then at the end of February, we're going to have the anniversary, the 1.5 year anniversary. So we have potentially, at the very minimum, 2 limited banners on the horizon, potentially 3 or more in the next, you know, 8 to 10 weeks, guys. So that's a lot of limited banners. So I just feel like, you know, personally, I think that this banner is an easy skip. I think that, you know, this is a good weapon, right? But I also think that this is a niche weapon, right? So kind of similar to Matt's last Guild War weapon, you know, raises the fire attack and magic attack, I believe, right? But it's also a very niche weapon. You need it to be in a very specific place for it to do its job, and this is going to be more or less the same thing. Now we have the battle ranking, so anyone who pulls on this and has Vincent's Arcanum from when he came out with his White Dog weapon is going to do great. However, if you're running Aerith and she's running that new Crimson Staff, right, she has an AoE magic defense break as well, so you don't even necessarily need the magic defense break here. So you're essentially just running it for the earth damage buff. So in some ways, I feel like someone else is most of the time going to be doing that magic defense break. The earth damage increase is nice. The extra, you know, magic non-elemental damage is nice as well. But I just don't see the value in pulling for this weapon when we can wishlist this in 6 to 8 weeks from now, you know, especially like I said, with everything on the horizon, and, you know, especially with a lot of those things being limited. You know, my account recently, I haven't really been able to pull on any featured banners except for Cloud's holiday one, and, you know, I went for that one because it's Cloud. It was his one featured banner per year, which is literally got one in a whole year. So I've basically kind of been locked down into saving for limited stuff because, you know, if you miss certain limited things, it can really make it a lot harder on your account to play the game. It's not to say that you can't beat content without those things, but let's be real, it does make it a lot easier, and it's definitely fun to play with those things. So it does kind of suck to be locked into limited stuff, which kind of feel like I'm in that kind of boat right now. But, you know, it is what it is. At least we can wishlist these things. And on the plus side, if you have Vincent's other Arcanums, you know, you're not really missing much with this costume except for the fact with how it looks, which, you know, it does look awesome, guys. Let's be real. So let's take this weapon up to OB10. All right, 674 magic attack. I think I've seen like up in the high 690s. So it's not the highest damaging one, but it is still pretty high. It's going to jump to 750% magic non-elemental damage. And I'm going to show you guys here that base 5-star, right? The duration of the magic defense break is going to be 25 seconds. All right, and the earth damage increase is going to be 35 seconds. Take it to OB6, and those durations don't change, right? So the magic defense break stays at 25 seconds. The earth damage one stays at 35 seconds. But it's not until OB10 that it actually increases the duration of these things, which is kind of a long way to go to get a duration bump, right? However, like I said, you're going to get 62 magic attack and then 39 earth potency right here, which is super good on the R ability. So for me, this is a definite like wish list to OB10 weapon. You know, just to have this in the back end on those magic earth builds is going to be so strong. I mean, obviously this wouldn't be on the back end. Vincent would be on the front line, and you're going to be running this in the offhand, and it's going to be super strong from him. But yeah, guys, essentially that is going to be my take on this banner. There's not too much to look at. I was a little bit confused by certain things, you know, in this banner. You know, there's a lot of things I like about it, but I find myself struggling to come up with reasons why someone would pull for this, especially being in the timing we're in, knowing what's on the horizon, what is coming in the future, and knowing that we can essentially wishlist this weapon. So unless you guys are a humongous Vincent fan, right, and if you are, like, I support it, go for it. I wish you guys the best of luck. If you're either a huge Vincent fan or you have a bunch of crystals saved up to the point where it's not going to hurt you to pull on this banner, right, or you're willing to spend on the banners to come, then I think those are really the only reasons to pull on this. Other than that, guys, I think it's a super easy skip. Save your crystals for what's to come on the horizon, and hopefully we'll get more cool stuff then. So that being said, that's going to conclude my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it today. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel for more Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis content. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.